What? I broke the ice. You can go get a drink. Are you not thirsty now? What, you too good for water? Yeah? How are we doing this morning, girls? Huh? Well, you don't look like you're hungry. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to 2025. As you can tell, we have us a bit of a winter wonderland here, and it's real pretty to look at until you have to come out and mess with it, and then it's not so pretty anymore. This is about, well, it was. I mean, this fell a couple days ago. This is about 10 to 12 inches of snow. I mean, it depends on where you're at, of course, but on average, I'd say about 10 inches. It was a good snow, and we could use a little moisture, so that was cool. Today's January 11th, and I haven't been uploading any videos, and I had intended to, but right after we got the Pontiac out of the shop, that was the last video for 2024. That video, ooh, slippery. That video performed very well, all things considered, and I had intended to upload a bunch more in early January here, but that didn't work out for a variety of reasons. The biggest one being I kind of got under the weather, and I'm not feeling back to 100%, but I'm feeling good enough to do a video. You might see some jump cuts if I have to stop and cough or something, but I'm pretty sure I'm almost done with the cough, which is awesome. And then, of course, you know, we got the snow, which didn't help. Oh, there's Power Stroke Panther. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Oh, there he is. There's that cat. It's not so bad when the wind's not blowing, is it, huh? Yeah. You want to say hi? Nope. Okay. So anyway, we've been busy. Well, I've been busy feeding cows. And it's twice a day. It just takes time. And then the weather being not great, cold, windy, some combination of that. Cloudy, misty, rainy, foggy, whatever you want to call it. And then me not feeling good. That kind of hurt video production. Now, I do have one video ready outside of this channel review here. Are you going to hop up there or what? Don't get covered in grease again, you Fruit Loop. Anyway, I have one video ready because right after we got the Pontiac out of the shop, I swept it up here. As you can see, we finally removed that seat. And I pulled the Excursion in here and I replaced the fuel injectors. And then a few days later, I pulled the Mazda in here and I replaced the grill and the hood release cable. So even though the shop is still kind of a mess, as you can tell, it is serving its purpose very well. I've also had Zippy in here. That's what all that's from. Zippy has had a hell of a problem with the driver's window not wanting to roll down. And so I came in here, I pulled the whole harness out of the door, was checking wires and continuity and resistance and all that other stuff. And I needed the shop to do that. So that's another project I've kind of been working on off and on. Didn't really feel good enough to do a video on it, but I felt good enough to come out and mess with it for a couple hours. That's all that matters, right, Panther? So, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get this channel review out of the way so that I can work on some other stuff. There's a lot to go over, but I've got my notepad and my big book of YouTube channel notes. Oh, don't fall behind there. And we got us a Snapple, too, in case I get a little parched. So, for once, we can actually do the channel review in the shop. So, let's get set up and get some stuff talked about. All right, well, the lighting should be pretty good. Got us the executive office chair all fixed up with the... Cat, what are you doing? Hey. All right, don't knock my Snapple over. All right, so anyway, you should have a pretty good view behind us. You should be able to hear me okay. If not, I'm sorry. You may have to turn your volume up for this part. So, like I said, there's a lot to get over. So, we'll go here first because this is where I kept most of the notes. All right, so channel statistics, which is the real important thing here. The channel did extremely well for 2024, and thank you all for the attention, the subscriptions, the likes, the occasional comments, all that sort of stuff. I really appreciate it. Channel statistics. So last year, the channel gained 437 subscribers. Outstanding. That put us at a grand total of 964 on the 31st of December. Now, since today's January 11th, the channel currently has 998 subscribers. There will be a 1,000 subscriber special when we get there. I just want to make sure that I stay at 1,000 before I do that video. So there is that. But when I get to 1,000, hey, quit marking the tripod. Hey! You guys can't see him, but he's right here. He's being a cat. Anyway, thank you all for the subscriptions. I will do a 1,000 subscriber special when we get there, and we're almost there. Might get there while I'm editing this video and uploading it, so just know that, and thank you all in advance. So that's how many subscribers we got. As for views, the views did a little bit better than last year. 124,793 views, and that puts us at a grand total of 241,023 views. Outstanding. That's awesome. Now, the watch hours is what I really wasn't surprised at because most of my videos are so long. We're going to talk about that later, if I remember. The watch hours stayed about the same as last year, if I remember right. I didn't write last year's statistics down like a dummy. But watch hours for 2024 on the channel were 8,788. That brings us to a grand total of 18,568 watch hours. That's very important. Hello, Panther. Hello. Good cat. Yeah. All right, so the final thing that I want to mention here real quick is that I uploaded 51... Sorry. I uploaded 51 videos, approximately. That puts the grand video count at 148. Now, some of those videos were members only. We're going to talk about the members only stuff later. But I'm going to say 51 videos is a safe bet. That's not necessarily including the YouTube shorts. I don't upload a lot of those. I don't like them. So anyway, that is the basic channel statistics. In the U.S., a pig has to weigh more than 120 pounds to be called a hog. That's a real fact from the Snapple. I don't know if that's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. So, notable highlights of 2024. Now, if I get really fancy, I'll splice in a bunch of short clips from these highlights throughout the year. I may get too bored and in a rush and decide not to do it. So, dealer's choice. We'll find out. All right, so important notes. The Expedition carpet was kind of a big deal for me because I've never put a carpet in a vehicle before. I screwed it up, basically. Nobody really watched that video. That's okay. Off camera on the Expedition, nobody's going to find this surprising because it's a Triton 3 valve. The engine failed, and there's a story on that I'm not going to get into. Suffice it to say, I went to change the spark plugs, and hop, skip, and a jump later, I've decided the engine's shot. So the Expedition needs a motor. I've kind of mentioned this in passing, I think, in some other videos, that the Expedition's a project. It's going to come back. I know nobody's really interested in it, but it needs a motor. So that was cool. We got the 602 moved, and a bunch of other stuff. Started the shop cleanout project, and I am absolutely shocked that we got that, I mean, not 100% done, but most of the big stuff, we got checked off the list in 2024. That was extremely impressive. I expected that to carry into 2025, but it didn't. I put an oil cooler in the Versatile 800. That was a pretty serious repair that I did, and you know what? It still works. I was afraid it would leak. It doesn't, and we ran it pretty hard this year. So there was that. I got some good footage of the 800 in action. got an air conditioner in it too, because well, you know, running a tractor without air conditioning and it has a cab kind of sucks. So these were all huge milestones for the 800. That was awesome. I put a seat in my F-250. It's out here. And there's going to be kind of an update video on that later, just to see before and after what it looks like after a year of use. That was expensive. I'd never put a seat in something before, and it wasn't really that hard, and it's way more comfortable than what I pulled out. I can actually go on long distance trips now, and my back doesn't kill me when I get done, which used to be a pretty major concern. The sprayer got moved. That But we'll see. All right, let's try it again. Yeah, I like that. I think we can work with that. So, all it took was like 8 hours of prep work to move it for 8 minutes. But you know, when it's getting fuel, it just runs beautifully. That video got a lot of attention, I think because of the thumbnail. But the video itself wasn't all that interesting, and I apologize for that if any of you watched it. I don't know what we're going to do with the sprayer, 100%. I mean, we're not going to scrap it or anything, but we might talk about that later. We got the sprayer moved. That was a big deal because I didn't think it was going to start and run, but it did. It didn't drive very well, but it did start and it did run. The grazer mower ran very well outside of a screw up on the PTO bolt. And some of you might say, well, nobody really cares about the mower. Why do you keep putting videos out about it? The reason why is because when that mower quits, I've got a lot of stuff to mow around here, okay? Not just here at the house, but there's another place, and then there's another place. I've got a lot of stuff to mow, and when that mower quits, it's all hands on deck, well, all my hands anyway on deck, to get it fixed and operable so that I can go mow stuff. Because, well, that's just the way it is. And when the grass gets ahead of you, oh my gosh, it's an uphill battle. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. So the grazer ran very well. That was awesome. Got the loader off the International. You guys think I could drive this skid steer one-handed? Oh, yeah. Maybe. What's it gonna do? On now. Oh, it doesn't like that. All right, I gotta have both hands. It's a little bit better now. It's not great, but at least I can move it because, well, that's where we used to be over there. So, oh my gosh, I can't go very fast. And it's kind of dragging on the ground, but that's okay. Oh yeah, it's not even tipping the skid steer forward that much. So we'll get this drug around. Uh-oh. I hope that one of those chains doesn't snap and, you know, hit me in the face, because that would suck. Well, here we are at the fiberglass. Yeah, this totally wasn't sketchy in the slightest, and I totally didn't even drag it on the ground that much, and I definitely was not wearing out the idlers on the front. Totally wasn't doing that. I didn't think the T200 Bobcat was going to do it. That wasn't a very good video, I'll admit, but we got the loader off the International, the 1586. That was a big deal. Probably the biggest thing that happened this year is the equipment acquisitions. We got a combine. That's an enormous deal. International 1480 axial flow combine. We have one. And not only did we get a combine, but we got a good combine, 1480 International, and we got a hell of a monetary deal on it as well. I mean, hell of a deal on it. I'm not going to say what it is. I didn't then. I'm not going to now. I might later. But right now, just suffice it to say, we got a bargain on it. And it more or less works. It does need some work. But that was an enormous milestone. Obtaining a combine, I mean, that was, that's a lot. And it worked very well. Harvest went very well. Combine, very good combine. And then a little while later, absolutely extreme high-level luck here, which we normally never have. We got the 875 Versatile. Yeah, we got another tractor. That's the important thing I should probably do this video about, since that's supposed to be what it's titled. So obviously it's a Versatile and it's an 875, and I might put this in the thumbnail so my little introduction there may not have fooled you. Key on, clutch in. Yes, we are in neutral. All right, hit the switch there. Yeah, I know that was bad for the turbocharger, but I'm sure it's had worse. Had some comments on it and stuff on the walk around of it. I appreciate all the comments and input. A lot of people said it's a pretty high hour machine, and they just went ahead and rebuilt it, and the hour meter has went ahead and gone around once, so it's got like 11,000 hours on it. Several people have told me that, and I can see where that would be the case. The machine itself, a lot of stuff indicates it's low hour, mechanically at least, and a lot of stuff indicates it's higher hour. But regardless, it runs very, very well. I mean, it leaks, but it's an old tractor. What doesn't leak? And there's just a few more things we need to get sorted out on it, and it'll be absolutely fine. As a quick aside, in case I forget later, I have a master cylinder. I bought a brake master cylinder, so we're going to get the brakes fixed on it because we need those. But the 875 was also a very lucky acquisition. Hell of a bargain on it. The guy that sold it to us was an absolute joy to deal with. He brought it down here for like nothing. You know, absolute cherry of a guy, really is. So the last major piece of equipment that we actually got, which is right there, is that Kubota. Now, I didn't put out a lot of videos on the Bobcat T200 skid steer that we had before this Kubota. And there's a reason for that. Suffice it to say, it was not a good machine. If it was running right, it would have been better. It wasn't big enough. And again, hell of a deal. We managed to get this we managed to get this Kubota SVL 95. This Kubota right back here, that is a hell of a machine. It is. Hi, you want to come up here? Here, you can come up here and help me do the channel review. How do you feel about that? I don't know if anybody can see you. Here's Power Stroke Panther. He doesn't like that. All right. Well, anyway, getting the Kubota was an enormous deal. We've used the crap out of this thing. We've already put like 120 hours on it since we got it, and in 3 years of having the Bobcat, we barely put 100 hours on it because it did not run good at all. And we went back and forth on what to do with it, whether or not we should fix it. We kind of had to have it for a while, but prices finally stabilized, and we got in a position where we could do something different. And so we traded it, and we got that. And that is, oh man, it's nice to have a skid steer you can count on. I mean, it's just amazing. Now, we have gotten some other things on auction as well, but they're not here. So I'm not going to talk about them too much. But we got a track, which is kind of cool. I think you guys are going to like it when we get it here, and I'll do a walk around of it and everything. And we got some other little stuff in between. We're looking at getting a few other pieces of equipment as well. But again, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But if we get it, it's going to be really cool. I think you guys will enjoy it. So, continuing important notes on the channel. So, I got new springs put in my pickup. Granted, that was based on a screw-up of mine, but I got new leaf springs in it. They're doing great. I love them. It doesn't ride any rougher than it used to. So, that's a plus. The planting of the winter rye went actually pretty well. No major breakdowns or anything of the sort, which is awesome. Haven't had that happen in a while. And then finally, the biggest things of the year, in my opinion, we got the International 1586 moved out of the way. So now, when you look behind us, you can see the wood pile that we need to clean up and some other stuff. But the tractor's not there. And we got all the iron out here moved. We got it all racked up. We got cleaned around this tree out here and everything. And we got the Pontiac out of the shop. That was just the crown jewel of achievements for 2024. So very good year for us in project completions and a variety of other things off camera. It was a pretty good year for us, 2024 was. I really can't complain too much. Looking back on it, we've had way worse years. 2022 in particular, that was a hard year. And I didn't think we were going to come out of it, but we did. And 2023 was a little bit better. 2024, very good year. Now, obviously, everybody goes into the next year thinking, oh, this year is going to be much better. I don't know that 2025 is going to be any better than 2024, but we got a shop now, so at least if we have a bunch of equipment failures, we got a space we can work on it, and that's going to help us out just tremendously. For 2025, what are we planning on doing here on the channel? Well, there's all sorts of cool stuff. We'll go around and look at some specific projects that have garnered a lot of attention here on the channel. And talk about them for a minute. But as an overview, and I wrote some stuff down, there's a lot that we want to do, just like everybody else. There's a lot that you want to do, but you don't know how much of it's actually going to happen. The likelihood of certain things happening even. So I've tried to keep this list of major points down to the things that are most likely to happen. It's not a guarantee. I want to make that clear. So Number one thing on the list for 2025, we have to go get all the stuff we bought on auction. Some of it is a ways, let's say. Let's just say it's a ways away. We have to go get all that. We're going to be busy here for the next month or two getting all that stuff back here, getting it fixed up and everything. So video production is going to be a little limited. I've got a few ideas now that we have a shop, especially. I got a few ideas and I can keep the content out, but it's going to be kind of sparse is what I'm thinking. So that's the very first thing we have to do. That's almost a certainty. That's not going to be on video just because when we go to get something, I don't want to have to talk to people about, hey, can I film this? I don't want to have to mess with it. I'm not good enough doing stuff on a single take most days to where I can really do it. So I'd have to sit there and do it multiple times to get it to turn out right. And it's just extra time and hassle that I don't want to deal with. So none of that stuff's going to be on camera. I'm sorry if that disappoints you. That's just the way it is. So when we get all of our auction stuff here, then we can focus on getting the rest of the shop cleaned up and taken care of. And if you haven't been watching the shop cleanup series, which again, that's fine. There's a lot here that needs to be dealt with. So how should I summarize this? Okay, long story short, all the stuff you see on the floor here, okay, that's in the way, all the stuff that's piled up and in buckets and all that, it's supposed to go in that storage building, but we can't do anything with the storage building till it's empty because it's got a bunch of personal family stuff in it. So we need to get this emptied so that we can put all this in there. And then we can work on fixing up the shop itself. We're thinking all sorts of stuff we want to do. We're probably just going to put some plywood up on the walls and the ceiling and stuff, put a heater in here for the winter, a fan for the summer, some lights, and just send it. And there's all sorts of other little things that are going to go on, but that's going to be its own video series. After we get the shop fixed up, the very first thing that's coming in here, well, there's two things kind of at the same time, is the 6.4 Power Stroke, which I know a lot of you have subscribed to this channel to see what happens. We still have it. We're still going to mess with it, but we have to get the shop cleaned up and fixed first. It's going to come in here. We're going to pull the motor. We're going to resolve the Power Stroke situation. I'm not even going to say we're going to rebuild the motor because I don't know what's going on in there. If I open it up and it's catastrophic failure, and it has scored the crap out of the mains or the rods or something like that, and the crank cannot be ground to an acceptable level to compensate, or we can't bore it out enough or deck it to make it all work, then we got to throw that block away, go find something else, and I don't know how that's going to work out. So we're going to resolve the Power Stroke situation. That's what I'm going to say. But that pickup has to be able to come in the shop, sit here for an extended period, and we still have to have enough room to work around it on other things. So, that requires the shop to be cleaned up. Now, at the same time we do the Power Stroke, we're also going to get the International 1586 apart. It's got transmission issues. It won't go in reverse. I know there's at least 2 gears that are bad. I don't know if it's there's 3 reverse gears in question. The reverse driven, the reverse idler, and the reverse drive. Yes. I don't know what of those gears is broken. I know at least 2 of them are shot. They need to be replaced. I don't know which ones. So that has to be split and disassembled and fixed, and who knows what we're going to get into when we actually do that. But it's going to be in here as well in pieces. Cab will be off of it. We'll bring the sub-assemblies in, and I'll kind of do that at the same time as a Power Stroke, because we have plans for that 1586 that we will talk about. Well, we'll just talk about it right now. So, real quick, we have 2 tractors. Both of them versatiles. We have the 800 and we have the 875. They are excellent machines, but they are strictly drawbar. They don't have PTOs, and they don't have 3 points or 2 points. They're strictly pulling tractors, and they're very good at that. But there's a few things that we need a PTO tractor for. So, we're looking at trading the International on a PTO tractor that's not a gutless pile of crap, because that's what that International is. It's gutless. I don't like it. A lot of Red Power guys are probably going to hear that and start fuming. I hate that tractor. I do not like it. The only thing redeemable is the motor, and that is a waste of a motor for them to have put it in that tractor. Absolute junk. The tractor, not the engine. So there's, for some reason, a lot of goofballs that like them, though. So when we get it fixed, it'll come with duals, it'll come with a loader. It should trade for pretty good. I don't know what we're going to trade it on, but we're going to trade it on something that has a PTO and just it's just a better machine. We have some options. I'm not going to get into it. I know what we would like to have, what we might end up with, we could live with. It just depends. That's the plan for the International. We're not keeping it. So when the International and the Power Stroke are done and dealt with and the shop opens back up, I have to put a motor in the Expedition, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And that's just a motor swap. I'm not rebuilding the one that's in it because I don't have the time to screw with it. We're just going to buy a reman and put it in there and go. When we get done with the Expedition, if things work out really well and if we have time, we'll pull the 602 Moline in here and we'll rebuild it. See if it can be rebuilt. I think it can, because that would be useful for, we have an auger that 602 would run, and we also have a sprig digger for Bermuda grass sprigs that 602 would be perfect for. And you might be wondering, well, why not use the 602 as your PTO tractor? Well, because the 602 will not run a spreader, it won't run a mower, it's just not big enough, it's not powerful enough. And we need a PTO tractor that can do those things. It also won't run a grain cart, not the size of the grain cart we have. Way too small, way too small. So we're going to fix a 602, maybe. That's probably going to be a late spring to early summer project if everything goes well. All right. The further down this list we get on shop projects, the less likely they are to happen in a timely manner. So we have a whole bunch of gates to build. We have corrals to improve and fix. I don't know if that's going to be on camera or not. Suffice it to say, the corral setup around here is pretty jankety. At the other place, it's not so bad. It's just not finished. But here, it's not the best. It needs a lot of work. That's a series of projects we have to do. We have a lot of trees to clear and fences to fix as well. Don't know how much of that's going to be on camera, but we're going to be, now that we have a skid steer, that's going to be a whole project. That's a lot involved with it. For the sake of time, I'm skipping the details. We'll talk about it more when and if the time comes to put it on camera. Combine repairs. That is going to be a early summer project. Chances are good I'll get it fixed up just before we go to cut the rye, assuming there is rye to cut. It could always come in and hail at the last minute and destroy it. But there's a variety of combine repairs to be done. It's nothing too serious. We just need to get it out of gear. We need to get the brakes to work. We need to fix the hydraulic leaks. And there's a feeder house leak. Most of the stuff we need to do is just like hoses and seals. Not a big deal. All right, so this last segment here contains a lot of subjects that I will discuss in more detail when I do the 1,000 subscriber special. But suffice it to say, as for just highlights here, because it concerns the channel itself, I have ended the memberships. You may have seen that as an option. You don't need to worry about it. I got rid of it. The reason I put it in place, and I literally set it to the lowest tier possible. They won't let you go lower than 99 cents a month. So I'd set it that low, and I was like, well, you know, I said in the last channel review that, well, people can support me if they want. But the real reason I did it is because YouTube was just pestering me endlessly about putting in channel memberships and super chats and all this other stuff. And eventually it just made me so mad, I got rid of it. I didn't want to upload members stuff because I didn't feel like I really needed to. And I want to do stuff differently. I want to structure it differently. So the memberships of financial support, the only type of financial support I'm going to get off YouTube is ad revenue, and I may not even get that. I don't know. But there's no memberships or anything, so don't worry about that. You didn't miss anything important. I had like maybe 3 videos over there, and they weren't all that good. Like even worse than my normal content. So what I'd like to do is move the specialized support. Like you give me a lot of support just by watching the videos that I put out and giving them a like occasionally and commenting and stuff like that. That's a lot of support right there. And I don't I don't want to underemphasize that point. That means a lot. That's the baseline for everything. So if I'm going to get extra support, I don't want to do it on YouTube. I want to do it on third-party platforms that are kind of smaller. I'd like to get away from YouTube if I can. I'm here because that's the best chance I have for garnering an audience. But if YouTube starts making trouble for me putting videos out, I'm done. I will remove every video except for one. And that one video will basically tell people, if you want to watch my content, here's what I do. And I do it on these platforms. Links are in the description. That's how I want to do this. If YouTube starts being a problem, as long as they play ball, I'll play ball. And so far, they haven't given me a lot of problems. But the potential for problems is also very high. And I'm skipping over a lot of details here, but, time. So I'm considering doing some extra content in the form of a newsletter. There's a platform I've discovered where I could do that. I don't have it set up yet, but I'm interested. If you make it this far in the video, what would you think about the occasional newsletter style email from me? Just give me your thoughts. If you think that's stupid, let me know. Like I said, I don't have it set up yet, but it's something I've considered. The last thing I want to really focus on and do better is content quality. It's part of the reason you haven't seen as many videos from me. I've actually made a lot of videos over the past 6 months, but about half of them, they will not turn out very well. A year ago, 2 years ago, I would have put those videos out. But because this channel is growing and because it's getting a little more serious, I've decided to put some legitimate effort in instead of kind of the half-assed efforts I've been doing. So I take my time when I can with filming stuff, showing stuff, saying things in the right way, mentioning things in order, trying to stay on track, trying to cut the video length down. That's my biggest problem is the videos go on way too long. I'm trying to cut them down. Now, some videos, they're long, and that's just the way it is. But most of them, I can cut them down, and I do my best. But my best isn't good enough, and that's kind of a difficult thing to improve, right? So I am trying to do better with content quality, which means you're going to see fewer videos for a while until I get stuff figured out. I just don't want things to go on forever. I want them to be more streamlined. I want it to flow easier. I want it to be a little more entertaining, to where at least if it's going to be a 30-minute video, you can suffer through it, right? I'm not going to be a 5-minute video YouTuber. That's just not possible. But I can sure try to put some effort in. Get better in the editing department. The editor I have is pretty limiting. It's good for what I do currently. I'm going to try and make some changes there. I film everything with my phone too, so I'm going to try and, I need to get another phone, but I'd like to get a camera. Cameras are expensive. I don't know which one to get. I'm looking at doing all kinds of stuff with increasing content quality, so you might see different resolutions, screen aspect ratios, editing styles. I'm going to be throwing a lot of stuff at the wall this coming year to see what sticks, what I like best, and what the audience likes best. And I'm going to put some real effort into that this time around, I think. But there's some videos where I've only got one chance to film them, and it's all single takes, and it just turns out how it turns out, and I upload it. But I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum. So, with all that being said, I think that covers pretty much everything. I really appreciate all of you stopping by and watching this channel. It means a lot to me. It really does. When I started doing this, I just kind of was like, well, I'll just put out whatever, and if people watch it, they watch it, and if they don't, they don't. Then people started paying attention, and I put more videos out. And I dialed up the quality about, a little bit. And so now that the channel is getting real serious, and I can actually benefit from it a little more, I'd like to put in some more effort. You guys subscribing, liking, commenting, all that stuff is the biggest amount of support that you can give me. And a lot of people have said they really appreciate my videos and the content in them. And I appreciate you watching, especially if you commented and said, oh, this was a really good video. Thanks, man. Well, I didn't think it was that good. So either you're being really nice or you actually thought it was a good video. But regardless, I think I can do better. And you sitting around watching and listening, it means more to me than I can express in words. It really does. So, like I said, that should cover everything. Once I get this put together and uploaded, I've got the video on the Excursion's fuel injectors ready to go. It should be ready to go anyway, and I'll upload it after this one. And then there's several other things I'd like to do. That yellow notebook that hang on. So I've got this notepad. I just use it for all sorts of stuff. But this book right here, I splurge. This is a Write in the Rain notebook, and it's the high dollar. It's the high dollar paper. It's supposed to be, you run it through the washing machine and it doesn't come apart. I write down all sorts of video ideas, major channel milestones, the videos I've uploaded, all sorts of stuff like that is in this book. And as time goes on, there will be a whole bunch of other information in here as well. I've got at least a page and a half of ideas in this book. And that's a lot of ideas. Some of them I have decided not to do. A lot of them I'd like to do, but I don't have time. Or they're just not turning out. So I'm always coming up with new ideas and trying to do stuff that you guys find interesting. I'm always trying to do all sorts of different types of content. I don't want to be a one-trick pony. And I want to attract attention across a variety of fronts. It's kind of my goal here. So anyway, again, thank you all for subscribing and watching. I'm glad to have you here. I really am. And as 2024 is officially over and we're, pretty early in 2025, things aren't going too bad. We're going to try and keep on that track. I'll get some more videos out for you to watch, and hopefully you enjoy them and find them useful. And until then, thank you all. Again, I know it's getting repetitive, but I can't say it enough because I don't know what else to say. Thank you all tremendously for your time and attention. I will try and put out some videos that are worthy of it. And until then, you all take care, stay healthy. It's pretty difficult this time of year. You get the sniffles, you get the cough that doesn't want to go away. But stay healthy if you can, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's make 2025 a good year.